The way we behave is driven by how we feel. The way we feel is driven by how we think. How to manage our thoughts, our stories, our emotions, and stay present, stay grounded in the moment, be the best version of ourselves. Maintaining that balance is not easy. Human beings are fundamentally driven by two primal forces. The first is our desire to seek pleasure from our cave person past, where pleasure meant food or a mate. The second is our desire to avoid pain, where from our cave person past, avoiding pain meant attack from a tiger or a warring tribe. Because the avoid pain stuff is game over stuff, we are more hardwired to avoid pain than we are to seek pleasure. It's what psychologists call a negativity bias. We worry about more stuff than we need to. Turns out, 93% of the stuff we worry about is irrelevant. But we scan the world for worry and problems and stress because we think we need it to keep us alive. We don't anymore. Our world isn't so dangerous. There's a great book called The Chimp Paradox that labels two parts of the brain in an interesting way. It calls our emotional brain, our amygdala, the chimp. And it calls our thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex, the human. When you get that arsey email from someone and you start hammering out the reply, what you don't know is this, and you should pay more attention to this, and then you just have the presence of mind to leave it in draft for a half an hour. And you come back to it and you go, whoa, glad I didn't send that. Your chimp had written that email. In the half an hour that passed, the chimp had calmed down, settled down, eaten some grass, gone back in its box, and the human could go, wow, okay. When we are hijacked by the chimp, we can't think straight. Really helpful if you need to run away from a threat, but not so helpful for our modern problems. The best version of ourselves is driven by our ability to be present in the moment. Our head not walking off into the future or into the past. Mindful of the stories we're telling ourselves, and mindful that they are just stories. They're not true, they're just thoughts rolling through our mind. And we can make a choice about whether those thoughts serve us or not. Imagine something happens in the world and you see it in two newspapers, the Daily Mail and the Guardian. The thing that happened is still the thing that happened, but those stories are very different. Same for our brains. We have editorial slant. Our brains are merely the editors of our lives. If this big screen was to collapse now, I could tell myself a story of, oh my God, that's a disaster. What are we going to do? The event's ruined. Everyone think I'm stupid. Or I could tell myself a story of, okay, that's kind of funny. I'll remember this event for a long time. We'll just carry on. The event itself has no intrinsic good or bad qualities. It's the stories I tell myself that drive how I feel about the thing that happened. So this tool, Stories tool, makes us think. For myself, am I good at taming those stories? Not just reacting like a chimp to the moment. Am I good at recognizing, my chimp has me? Or, that story that I'm telling myself may or may not be true, but it's not helpful. At the level of others, for the leaders in the room, are we good at coaching this in our people? It's a very subtle leadership skill to be able to ask people, well, how are you thinking about that? And is that helpful? Does that serve us? At the level of team, do we wind each other up with unnecessary stories about stresses that don't really matter? Or are we pretty good at keeping it even? And go, okay, that is what it is. Let it go.